As you are all probably aware, we are at the sacred site on the bank of the Godavari river in Kovvur, where Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met and discussed with Sri Ramananda Raya. That was said to be in the year 1512. That would be 2 years after the Lord's accepting sannyas. And in 1930, our Paramaradhyatam, Param Gurudev, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, visited here and installed the footprints of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And subsequently this Gauriya Math, which is known as Sri Ramananda Gauriya Math, was established. There is the Sanskrit word is Tirtha. That's also the name of the sadhu guru whose pictorial form I'm now looking at. You would have to turn around to see, who oversaw this mat after the departure of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti-Vilas Tirtha Maharaj. The Tirtha means a place for crossing a river. In modern scientific speculation, there is an idea of parallel universes and the possibility of going through a portal from this universe to another universe. It's all part of mainstream scientific speculation, although it sounds like what would have previously been called science fiction. But actually that concept is already there, the Vedic concept. Tirtha means a place which is very suitable, by which one can easily cross from this world of suffering and birth and death and illusion to the spiritual world. So places like this, they are called tirthas. And great devotees, they're also called tirthas. Bhavadvidha bhagavatas tirtha bhuta swayam prabho. Tirtha korvanti tirthani swantas tena gadabrita. Yudhishthira Maharaj addressed Vidura that you have been visiting all the tirthas, but you yourself are a tirtha. By your very presence, you make the tirthas into a tirtha, because you always carry Krishna, who's the carrier of the club, within your heart. So great devotees, they're also, wherever you meet them, they can also transport us from this world to the spiritual world. And in fact, the tirthas are made by the devotees. In other words, simply to go, yat tirtha buddhi salalena karahi jijjaneshva vigneshu sa eva gokara. If one thinks that the tirtha is made of tirtha, its efficacy comes simply by bathing in the water there. That's not very intelligent. Of course, everywhere on the banks of the Godavari is a tirtha. It's a holy place, it's a sacred river. But particularly this spot is most significant. Of course, there are so many places that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited. Regarding this, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Gaura Mara Jai Shabashthane Karilo Brahmana Range Shai Shabashthana Haribo Ami Pranai Bhakata Sange. Bhaktivinoda Thakur expressed the desire to visit every place that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had visited. Bhaktivinoda Thakur aspires to visit such places in the association of loving devotees. However, some places are especially significant. Of course, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, Navadvip, Puri and Vrindavan are especially significant. But this place is also especially significant because it is the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met and discussed with Rai Ramananda. And this 8th chapter of the Madhya Leela of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is known as the chapter Ramananda Samvad, conversation with Ramananda. Although actually it records the first 10 days of their discussions at this place, after which, well actually at the very beginning of which, when Rai Ramananda first met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I'll get back to that later. Later they had so many discussions every night in Puri for years together. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after accepting sannyas, came to Puri on the request of his mother. Later, he set out from Puri on the pretext of searching out his brother, Vishwarup, who had accepted sannyas with the name Shankararanya. That was the pretext, although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his actual intention was to spread the holy name all around South India. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went all around South India, down the east side, the Coromandel coast, and then after visiting Kanyakumari, came up on the west side, up at least as far as Pandharpur, although it's not recorded in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are local accounts of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu having come further north, up as far as the Narmada, but well, yeah, that state, he came by the Narmada bank, but even a little further north than that. And then he came back, from there he came back through central India. There's no record of that. There's a long journey. He must have gone through Omkareshwara and so many places on the bank of the Narmada. Then he went through the forest and again came to Puri. So as he went along the path, oh, one thing I should say, then in Puri, famously he met Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was known as Jagat Guru, even though he was a householder, as being the greatest philosopher, and especially he was the teacher of sannyasis. He would teach the Mayavad philosophy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu converted that Sarvabhauma to the cult of pure devotion, and Sarvabhauma, he recommended to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you're going south, so when you reach this area of the Godavari, then you should meet this Rai Ramananda. That even though he's a family man, he appears to be a Vishayi, a materialistic enjoyer. He is Shudra by caste. Actually, he was from the Kayastha class, which they're Shudra, but they're intelligent and they engage in administration. Kayastha, Karam. You should meet him because Sarvabhauma, he must have known Rai Ramananda because Sarvabhauma was the most renowned Pandit in Puri, and the Raja of Puri at that time, his capital was in Cuttack. That was Prataparudra Maharaj. So Sarvabhauma was very well known to Raja Prataparudra, and Rai Ramananda was also very close to Prataparudra. inasmuch as he was Rai Ramananda was the governor of this area that we're presently in, and a large, as they say in Indian English, that was built later. So he bathed on this side, and just as he finished bathing in those days didn't mean just going in the water and coming out. There's so many tarpan, offering in the water, mantras, so many things to do. Sandhya, Vandanam, all these things. Although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, having accepted sannyas in the Mayavad Sampradaya, would not be doing all those things. But just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had finished and he was sitting and chanting Nama Sankirtan. Yeah. Then there came the sound of some musical band, Nada Swaram. And some big person came, some important person came. When an important person goes even to bathe in the river, he'll be accompanied by so many others. So there was a person being carried in a palanquin, being accompanied by Vedic brahmanas who were chanting mantras, and this was Ramananda Rai. So Ramananda, seeing a sannyasi there, he got down from the palanquin, because one shouldn't ride in a palanquin if they're in the presence of a senior person. He got down from the palanquin and offered, he saw there's a sannyasi, and he offered obeisances. He was surprised to see such an effulgent person, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lifted him up and embraced him, and they were both they were showing ecstatic symptoms, which is natural because Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna and Ramananda Rai is Gopi Vishakha. So when they met, definitely there must be an awakening of ecstatic feelings. But the brahmanas and others who were with Ramananda Rai, they were surprised. They thought that this is a sannyasi. Why is he embracing this materialistic person who's a grihasta and a shudra? They were with Ramananda Rai, but they judged him simply according to their material understanding. So seeing the doubtfulness on the part of the accompanying brahmanas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu checked his ecstasy. And as is proper when two people meet, then the one who is junior or inferior, in modern days we don't like to say things like inferior, but there is such a thing. He introduced himself first, that I am known as Ramananda Rai, Shudra Adham, I'm very lowly Shudra. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, oh, it's very good, because I wanted to meet you. I didn't know how to meet you, but just by good luck, I've been able to meet you very easily. Because as a sannyasi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he couldn't go looking to meet such a person as Ramananda. He couldn't personally go to meet him. That wouldn't be done. That I want to meet the governor. Later on, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came back to Puri, he refused to meet Prataparudra Maharaj on the grounds that Prataparudra is a materialist. But Ramananda was practically in the same situation, although not in as high a status, but he was the governor and a very wealthy, engaged in politics and so many things. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately accepted him, having heard that he was a great devotee on the recommendation of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So there was an immediate link between them, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said that Sarvabhauma had recommended me to meet you. So Ramananda then understood that Sarvabhauma had received the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he was no longer a dry logician engaged in dry speculations about the meaning of Shastra, but that Sarvabhauma had become a great devotee by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Ramananda, he petitioned Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he knew as sannyasi, he's not living in a mutt. Some sannyasis live in mutts, like here in the Ramananda Gauriya mutt. The sannyasis live here, but some sannyasis, they simply travel. So he could see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a traveling sannyasi. So he said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you stay here for some time, because so we can talk. What is that verse? Mahanta Shabhav Jetarite Pamor Nija Karja Nahe Tabu Jai Anne Ghar. Yeah, he said, he's Mahanta Shabhav E Tarite Pamor Nija Karja Nahi Tabu Jan Tar Ghar. He said that as a great personality, it's natural that you uplift the sinful persons like myself, even though you have nothing to do on your own account. You go to their houses. So he said that, Ramananda said that there are with me 1,000 men. You can see what a big man he is. When he goes to take bath, he has 1,000 men with him. But their heart has been changed. They're all become Krishna conscious just by seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They're all experiencing ecstatic symptoms. So Ramananda requested that, I'm just making it brief. You see, in this 8th chapter, it's already made brief, because if you were to, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke for 10 nights with Ramananda at this place, and if you were to put it all in, then it would be a very, 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 very big book. So it's just summarized in one chapter, and I'll just have to summarize it now. So Chaitanya Ramananda said, you stay here for some days so that we can discuss. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, never mind some days, we should live together all our lives and discuss. So actually that's what happened. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed here 10 days, and then afterwards, and he told Ramananda that you pack up this business of being the governor, you go and live in Puri, I'll meet you when I come back, and then we'll spend our whole lives together, which they did. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, apart from when he went outside Puri, which he sometimes did, actually twice, once he went to Bengal, another time he went to Vrindavan, and then occasionally he would go to Alalanath, especially just before the Rath Yatra festival. But otherwise, every night, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would discuss Krishna Katha with Surup Damodar and Rai Ramananda. So these discussions in this, are summarized in this 8th chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila. They are known as the Ramananda Samvad, the conversation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Ramananda, and they are the pinnacle, or they give the entrance into the highest theological topics. generally we think that, what's the highest topic? Well, the essence of all the Vedas, Sarvopanishado Gavo, is Bhagavad Gita. And the ultimate instruction in Bhagavad Gita, Charamopadesha, is Sarvadhaman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Raja Hang Tva Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Yashami Mashucha. Surrender to Krishna fully, take shelter in him. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Ramananda Rai proposed this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, Eho Bhaja, this is external. So, the highest teaching that Krishna gave, there's higher to go. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in discussing with Ramananda, always going higher, 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 higher. So he gave the entrance. There's just giving the outline of the theological background, if we want to call it that term, theological, that's a technical term. The Tattva Jnana, by which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, later he would discuss with Rai Ramananda, topics of Krishna, at the very zenith of such discussions. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Sarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda Rai, they would discuss, especially from the songs of Chandidas, Jaydev's Gita Govinda, Ramananda's own Jagannath Vallabh Nartaka, and of course from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhavabhuti. These were the very high-level discussion of Krishna Lila. So this was first discussed here. Otherwise, previously, sometimes in Navadvip, sometimes in Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had alluded to such matters, but the first time, the first time that these topics were extensively discussed, the very topics for which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this world to relish and to distribute, to make known. The first time that was revealed here by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaking through Ramananda Rai. Ramananda said that I am just like a puppet and you are the puppeteer. Just like Krishna spoke to Brahma. Brahma, the Vedic knowledge was diffused by him. Later that came to Sandipani Muni, who spoke that to Krishna. So in the same way that the rain falls on the sea, but the sea is rain, so in the same way Ramananda spoke to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the source of all this knowledge. So at that time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first met Ramananda Rai, they had a brief meeting. Ramananda was there with 1,000 men, approximately. He had come for the purpose of bathing in the Godavari. And so many brahmanas were there. They were to help in Karma Kanda, the brahmanas, they will help someone to do the Tarapan and different rituals. So it must have been some special day, maybe for Ramananda, maybe the anniversary of his father's death or something like that. It's specifically mentioned he was going to do that. So then at night, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu waited at that place. He got an invitation for lunch prasadam, madhyana prasadam, from a local Vedic Brahmana who is also a Vaishnava. So from this, I would understand that was a Vadigalai Sri Vaishnava. If you say a Vedic Brahmana who is a Vaishnava in this area of India should be Vadigalai Sri Vaishnava. So, and in the evening, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu waited at that spot, and Raya Ramananda came with only one servant. Normally he wouldn't go anywhere without many servants, but he came just with one servant, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also had one servant. And then they began their discussions. Where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked about sadhya sadhana tattva. What is the goal of life and how to attain it? So the first proposition of Raya Ramananda was Varnashramacharvata purushena parafpuman Vishnur aradhyate panta nanyatato shakaranam. He said that, quoting from Vishnu Purana, he said that to worship the Lord while performing one Varnashram's duties, that is the way to satisfy the Lord. It's a shastric statement. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said this is external. Now sometimes it's supposed that this is completely rejecting this, but it's not completely rejecting it. It's a shastric statement from, of course there are some shastric statements which are meant for deluding others, but this is it's from Vishnu Purana, important Purana, Sattvic Purana. At the end of this chapter, it's described that the instructions of Ramananda, they're like Tamma, Kasha, Rupa, Sona, and what's the last one? Sparshamani. So these are 5 levels of Tama means copper, then bell metal, then silver, then gold, then touchstone. So they're all good metals. They're not like aluminum or something like that. They're all good, but each one is relatively better than the other. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his commentary, Amrita Pravaha Bhasha, he says that the instruction about Varnashram, that's like copper. Means it's good, but it's not the best. Especially in this Kali Yuga, even at that time, to properly follow Varnashram was being threatened. Those who were living in Muslim rule, of course, this area of India was still under Prataparudra Maharaj, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had grown up in an area under Muslim rule, so you can't properly practice Varnashram if there's no king who upholds the principles of Varnashram. So anyway, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Eho Bhaja, Aage kaha, tell me some more. The devotees at this mat must have heard this told dozens of times, because all the time there are devotees coming here and they'll say these things. So they must have heard this dozens, maybe hundreds of times from different devotees. So next, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered from Bhagavad Gita, Yad karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhoshi tadasi yad tapasyasi kauntaya tad karushva madarpanam, to offer the results of one's activities. Krishna karmarpan sarva sadhya sa, to offer the results of one's work to Krishna. That is the essence. That is the best of all. That is the best level to aim for. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, Eho Bhaja, this is external, say some more. Then Ramananda said, the Savadhaman Parityaja, giving up everything and fully surrendering to Krishna. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said this is external. Later, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he explained that this is not really on the full level of dharma. If one is thinking of surrendering to Krishna just to get free from sinful reactions, that is, it's good, but it's not the highest, it's not the best. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, Eho Bhaja Age Kaho, say some more. And then Jnana Mishra Bhakti. That was next offered by Raya Ramananda. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatmana Shochati Nakangshati Samas Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't, that's not really the point. It's not the ultimate teaching of Shastras. Then Jnana Shunya Bhakti. Devotional service performed only for the sake of pleasing Krishna. Jnane prayasam udapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadi avartam sthane stita shrutigatan tanuvang manobi ye prayasho jitajitopi apitaistri lokyam. Staying in one's own place, if one gives up the endeavor to understand everything by one's own brain power and simply becomes humble, hearing from pure devotees, then offering one's mind, life and words in the service of Krishna, then one can conquer Krishna, who is otherwise unconquerable. This Sthane Sthita verse, that's sometimes asked, that, well, then why do we sometimes ask people to change things? Well, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said this to Ramananda Raya, and he told him to change his sthan. You don't stay here, you go to Puri. Come and meet me there. He didn't change from being a grihasta, but he changed his position. He changed his material position to one which was more favorable for serving Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Eho hoi, this is very good, but say some more. So in perfection, there's perfection, more perfection, up, 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 up. So Raya Ramananda went on to explain Krishnadas Kaviraj has given so many evidences from Shastra that Ramananda has given. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati Kriyatang Yadi Katopi Labhyate Tatra Lolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam Janma Koti Sukritam Sukritayana Labhyate. Pure devotional service to Krishna is so valuable that it cannot be attained by any amount of pious, mundane pious activities in millions of lives. Somehow or other, if you can get it, get it. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, very good, tell me some more. Then Raya Ramananda spoke of Dasya Prem, serving the Lord in a mood of servitorship. I'm just going very quickly through this. Then serving the Lord in a mood of friendship, then serving the Lord in a mood of a parent, and then serving the Lord as a lover. Came to that level. And he speaks about the gopis, their love for Krishna, and then gradually he comes up, he especially elaborates, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami elaborates on how the gopis' love for Krishna is the highest and the best, and then eventually getting up, and how this is the highest of all, because Krishna himself cannot reciprocate the love of the gopis. They love him, they give themselves so much to him that he who is the proprietor of everything has nothing to offer but himself in return. Then he comes to the point of describing Radha. How, you see, it started at actually a very good level. Ramananda's discussion started following Varnashram and worshipping Krishna, that's actually very good. If we could get all the people in the world to do that, that would be a great progress. And he comes up step by step by step by step by step to pure love for Krishna, to Dasya Prem, then Sakhya Prem, Vatsalya Prem, then Kanta Prem, the love of the queens and the gopis. Then he comes to the love of Radha for Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very pleased to hear this. And there's some description of the glories of Srimati Radharani. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so very satisfied. And Ramananda said that, I don't know how I can instruct you. I'm not qualified to do so. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at this point said the famous Kiba Vipra Kiba Shudra Nyasi Kena. Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi Shudra Kene Noi Jai Krishna Tatta Veta Shai Guru Hoy. Even though Ramananda was superficially from the Shudra caste, he was fit to be the guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who externally was from the Mayavadi background. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established this, that anyone is fit to be a guru if he knows the science of Krishna. Then Ramananda spoke on the glories of Krishna, the beauty of Krishna in Vrindavan, in Golok, the spiritual world, the Kama Gayatri. Just very briefly, he spoke on the Kama Gayatri. That was later commentaries on Kama Gayatri were given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Prabodhananda Saraswati. What it means, Krishna being all attractive to everyone. The most important factor of Krishna is that he is Akhila Rasamrita Murti, the very form of all rasas. In Krishna Bhakti, the main thing Ramananda described is not simply the greatness of Krishna, but his being the fountainhead of all loving exchanges. And his own sweetness, it's so sweet that Krishna himself desires to taste his own sweetness, which is, of course, is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this world. He is Krishna wanting to taste his own sweetness. But he can only do that if he is Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam, if he takes on the appearance and the feelings of Srimati Radharani. So, and then there's a description of Radha, a poetic description, and then on and on it describes. On a different night, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked different questions of Ramananda. What is actual vidya? What is actual knowledge? What is actual dukkha? What is actual distress? What is the sound that should be sung and heard? And Ramananda answered all of these questions in relationship to Radha and Krishna. Which is the highest vidya or knowledge? Radha Krishna Prema Keli, the knowledge of the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna, that is the highest knowledge. What is the greatest distress? Ramananda said, in this world there's no distress other than separation from a devotee. Then what is the sound that should be reverberated and heard? The sound, Ramananda said, of the names of Radha and Krishna. So in this way, for 10 nights, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he questioned Ramananda, and Ramananda gave answers, and they were both very, very satisfied and very happy. The best example of Madchita Madgata Prana, Bodhayanta Parasparam, Katyantas Chamang Nityang Tushanti Cha Ramanti Cha, Parasparo Pakatanam. They are the best examples of this. And ultimately, Rai Ramananda, he saw that this one sannyasi, in a golden form was manifested before him in two forms, namely Rasaraj and Mahabhav. Rasaraj means Krishna, Shamasundar, blackish, and this Mahabhava Swarupini, the female form of the highest ecstatic feeling, Srimati Radharani. So Ramananda could see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Radha and Krishna, and Ramananda fainted upon seeing this. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought him back to consciousness, and then again he saw him in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the sannyasi. So in this way, all these topics were discussed. It's actually one of the longer chapters of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, more than 300 verses. Like I said, I'm just summarizing it here now. It is a great treasure to be regularly studied, meditated upon, discussed by the devotees. Many important instructions are there. There's discussion of how the can only enter into Vrindavan, the platform of the gopis, by following the gopis. Gopi anugate, Aishwarya Jnana Bhinay, Bhajaleho Brajendra Nandan, Bhajaleho Napai Brajendra Nandan. That without following the gopis, even if one worships Krishna in Vrindavan, in a mood of thinking of Krishna as the greatest, highest, one cannot attain him. So these are all topics that were later expanded upon, especially by the Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and the other Goswamis, and by others, later Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So this great wealth that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give, anarpitang charing chirat karunya vatirno kalo samapiyatanunataj valo rasa bhakti swabhakti shriyam hari purata sundara duty kadamba sandipita sada hridaya kandare spuratu va shachinandana. Rupa Goswami blesses, and taking the same verse, Krishnadas Kaviraj blesses the readers that may that Sachinandana Gora Hari be manifest in the core of your heart, he who came to give that which was never given before, or at least not for a very long time. He came to give that which is the highest resplendent feelings of pure love for himself. So this was first manifested comprehensively by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through the mouth of Rai Ramananda at this very place. So how special is this place? Without these teachings, there's no entrance into Vrindavan. There's no entrance into the secrets of Gaura Leela. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur had compiled Chaitanya Bhagavat with the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he finished it, seeing the book becoming very big, he finished that without discussing the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's relishing the highest ecstasies. He had not discuss that. Hardly. So those topics were known to, just after the passing of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there were some devotees who knew that. Especially Swarup Damodar had his karacha, or notes like a diary. And Raghunath Das Goswami, after the passing of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came from Puri to Vrindavan to see the land of Vrindavan and to offer his respects to Rupa and Sanatan, and then he wanted to leave this world because he couldn't bear to live without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when he came to Vrindavan, Rupa and Sanatan told him, no, don't leave this world. On the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have been living here in Vrindavan. We didn't see the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu so many years there. You describe them to us. So there were many great devotees living in Vrindavan at that time, and they were very anxious to hear the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the later pastimes especially. The earlier pastimes had been described by Vrindavan Das. So they wanted to appoint someone to record those pastimes in a literary form. And that commission was given to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And those higher pastimes, or the later, the Antya Lila, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental madness in the mood of Radha in separation from Krishna, that which the Vaishnavas, the very reason for which Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was commissioned to write Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which describes those pastimes and feelings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That was first enunciated here at Kovvur by Rai Ramananda. He acted superficially as the guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to initiate him into the topics of Radha Krishna, Prem Leela. So how important is this place and how important is this discussion? But it can't be understood by miserable persons. I'm sitting here talking all these things, but it's as Ramananda in humility said, I'm just like a talking machine. I don't understand anything that's being said, but I'm like a machine making some noise. So like that, I can say these things, but these are very lofty topics but by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we may also have entrance into them. The dull-headed, materialistic people, they cannot understand these topics at all. Even someone may be very highly elevated in Vedic studies, but if he thinks that Vedic study is itself the goal of life, then he can't understand these topics. As Rai Ramananda said, it's recorded in this chapter, Arashogga kaka chushe jnana nimba phale, rashogga kokil kai premamra mokule. He said that the abhagya, the unfortunate Mayavadis, or those who have no inclination toward the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, they are like crows who like to eat the bitter fruits of the neem tree. Whereas the devotees, they are like the kokil. If you see the crow, it's a big black bird. And it's arasagya kak. The Bengali word is kak, because the crow makes a sound. Kak, kak, kak. It's a very rough and the crows, they like to eat bitter fruits. But the kokil looks something like a crow. It's also black, but it's much more delicate form and sings very beautifully. So devotees, they also study the Vedic knowledge, but they find what is the rasa there. They find what is the sweetness. By the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the devotees, they are like the kokil, that's translated as cuckoo, it's a very sweetly singing bird. They don't eat the bitter fruit of the neem tree, they take the very sweet and attractive buds of the mango tree of Krishna Prema. Hare Krishna. I'll finish there now. If anyone has any question, they can ask. Yes, please. Yes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach Sharanagati. Shikai Sharanagati Bhakatera Pran. Yes. Sharanagati is usually connected with the Sarvadhaman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanang Vraja. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur commented that this is not the highest level because of the consideration of wanting to be free from sinful reactions. But the Sharanagati that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught, that is, what is that? Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jibe Daya Kare, Jibe Daya Kari, Shaparshada Shia Dharma Shaha Avatari, Atantar Durlabha Prema Karibare Dan Shikai Sharanagati Bhakatera Pran. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came from the spiritual world, or rather he brought the spiritual world and all his associates to give that extremely rare prem. The means of doing it was the Sharanagati. So Sharanagati is not in itself the highest, but it's necessary for prem. There's no prem without this template of pure devotional service. In the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, they take the Sharanagati, Prapatti. That's it. That's all. That's the highest. But Age Kaha, there's more. In the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, they mostly emphasize the Dasya Prem. That Ramananda quotes that in the Dasya Prem, that Bhavantame Vanu Charam Nirantara Praharshya Shami. What is that? Bhavantame Vanu Charam Nirantara Prashanta Nishesha Manoratantara Kadaham Aikantika Nitya Kinkara Praharshya Shami Sanata Jivita. That's quoted as part of the Dasya Prem, that's quoted from the Yamunacharya Stotra Ratna. So that's on the platform of Dasya Prem. It's also Prem. The term is used, Dasya Prem. So in this Sampradaya they go up to Dasya Prem and maybe Sakya Prem also. At the level of Gaurav Dasya Sakya Prem, that friendship mixed with reverence. But then there's more. There's Vishramba Sakya Prem, that friendship with affection. And then there's more Vatsalya Prem, and then Kanta Prem, Madhurya Bhav. So Sharanagati is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that as the prerequisite for attaining prem of the highest levels. But as Krishnadas Kaviraj points out in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that in the chapter describing the glories of Advaita Prabhu, that all the devotees up to Radha, they also have the mood of being a servant of Krishna. So, as Ramananda Rai describes here, it's just like we have the Bhumirapa Nalo Vayu Kam. So the qualities of earth, they have in them all the qualities of the water, earth, of water, fire, air, ether. So similarly, Krishnadas Kaviraj says in Madhurja Bhav, there's also all the just like there are 5, Bhumirapa Nalo Vayu Kam. So there are 5, Shanta Dasya Sakya Vatsalya Mata. So Madhurya Bhav has within it all the qualities of the others also. But there's no Madhurya Bhav without Dasya Bhav. That's the foundation. Of course, there's the consideration of also of Rasa Vichar, because there's a proper way to mix the rasas. If someone is in Gopi is in Gopi Bhav and then she has the mood of motherhood, it doesn't mix. That becomes aparas or rasabhas. Just like when Pradyumna was born, Pradyumna came to the palace of Krishna, and he was just a young boy. And first Pradyumna came from the fish, and the cook in the kitchen, a very nice baby, but then very quickly the baby grew up, and then she was coquettish with him. He said, "What's this? You were like a mother, and now you're being like a lover. That's wrong. You can't do that. You should." But she explained, well, actually in a previous life we were husband and wife, so it's okay. But otherwise, if someone is like a mother, and then they want to be like a lover, it's a bad mixture. So there are so many considerations. There's a whole science is given in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of, what is that, uparas, aparas, and one other, which I can't remember. Perverted mixtures. Bhakti Siddhanta Viruddha, Arasya Bas, Shunite Prabhu na hoy ulash. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he didn't like to hear. Bhakti Siddhanta Viruddha, anything which was against the proper conclusion of devotional service, or